Whoa! It's working, Zach.
It's working?
I was having technical difficulties.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the
Kingsmith
Kingsmith
Pod.
Podcast. Wait, hold up.
Stop. Stop.
You don't pay me to stop.
I don't pay you anything.
I know. We're your hosts, Zach King and Nathan Smith.
How are you guys doing?
Hi. Well, that was an intro.
Yep. If you haven't seen our short for today, Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, fathers.
We're recording this on Father's Day
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't have nothing better to do.
He's kind of right. We didn't have youth group this evening,
So, you
and
know, here we
I
are.
was actually really bummed about that, but we didn't have youth group because it's Father's Day, and people were celebrating with their fathers, so I didn't want to get in the way of that. So, yeah, the things that we do for our kids
Our kids.
and
Their dads.
their dads.
Yeah. Okay.
We have dads too.
We have
don't
dads.
have kids though,
Not yet.
but they're still ours.
Excuse me.
Does that make any sense?
A little bit.
Yes.
Anyway,
If you tracked along with that, go subscribe to our Patreon. If you didn't, subscribe to a higher tier of our Patreon. Oh yeah, I need to put that in the description, I think. It'll be in the description. It's in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Future Nathan put that in the description.
Yeah, future Nathan. Future editor. Okay, so, Zach, what on earth are we talking about today?
Well, okay, Nathan. So we have a bit of a unique episode.
Unique.
Well, not. It's unique as in this is the first time we're doing it.
Okay, I guess that's technically correct.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's the debut of a new style of episode we're gonna be doing. I'm sure if you've all spent any amount of time on YouTube, which if you're watching this,
Yeah, you do.
you are.
Sorry.
You do.
Well, I'm not that sorry.
YouTube has some great things, and some not so great things.
Yeah.
Eh,
It's YouTube.
it's YouTube.
We're like in the middle of the road category.
Yeah. But yeah, if you spend any time on YouTube or any other like media platform,
TikTokers,
you've
Instagrammers.
no doubt come across like top 10, top
Fine.
5 lists ish. Rip fine.
X, Twitter.
Bring it back.
It's called Twitter. Stop it. Yeah,
I was referring to Vine, but okay.
No, Vine is that was the greatest.
I know, which was why I said bring it back.
Bring it back.
We're agreeing.
Elon Musk. Wait, why are we?
You do this all the time.
We're
You
2
start
minutes and 50 seconds in, and we're already arguing about something we agree on.
You do this all the time. You start arguing, and you're just like, wait a minute, why are we arguing? And I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like it's a timing issue. Like my brain's already moved on to the next topic, but you keep talking about the one thing because I'm fast. And
Yeah.
that's a way of
Yeah.
putting it. And then I have to catch myself back up to where we were.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but anyway, what I was talking about is like we the top 10, top 5 list, and
Yeah.
this is normally reserved for like nerd videos where they're like talking
No,
about.
this is a nerd video. This isn't a nerd herd video.
Subscribe to the channel if you want that.
Just subscribe.
Subscribe everywhere.
Yeah. We're nerds. Deal with it. We're Christian nerds who don't know when to shut up.
Anyway, but a lot of like video game YouTubers will do this type of thing where they're
Yep.
like, "Here's my top five video games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my top 10 like favorite games in this franchise.
Right.
Whatever, you know."
We're gonna do a top 5 media sad things ever,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And it's
Right.
gonna be it's a top 10-ish list because both of us have 5 things we wrote down. But
I memorized mine after I wrote it.
cool.
Actually, I didn't write it. I typed it.
Anyway.
Yep.
But we both of us have 5 scenes that we have in our minds, and
Yep.
we're gonna go back and forth and discuss things.
It's a panel. It's
It's a panel.
like a debate, but better because it's not a debate.
It's not a debate. It's here's a sad scene. Let's talk about why it's sad.
I think I've got batteries that are wanting to die. I started on 3 bars. How is this possible?
Let me check.
How's yours doing?
Batteries.
Mine's angry.
Mine's at 3 bars. I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna watch mine and make sure it doesn't crap out on me. If it does, then it does.
All right. If it does, then Nathan will randomly get up and get more batteries.
I'll find batteries. I'll scrounge around and find batteries.
Anyway.
I might have to take some out of the controller or something. All right, so Zach, why don't you start with your first 5, or your first number, your number one.
Okay, so for me, these are kind of in no particular order, except for one of them. That's gonna be like the clear number 1.
Okay.
And you'll figure that out. So my number 5-ish is definitely Mufasa's death from The Lion King, and
oh yeah, that's a good one.
we'll save the debate for another time because
they're making a second Lion King.
I know. We'll
that one's gonna actually be Mufasa. So
we'll say we've already done a podcast on which version.
Why the Lion King's better?
On which version is better. Go watch that. There's not really a clear winner. We just kind of stood there yelling at each other. I won. Anyway, but really, in either version, it's a sad scene.
It is sad. It is really sad overall.
Overall, it's a sad
depressing.
Scene. It's a child losing a parent.
Dude, it's Father's Day. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, in both versions.
Yeah.
And it's clear in the context of the movie, what is context, Nathan?
Key. Context is key, always.
In the context of the movie, Simba and Mufasa have a really good father-son dynamic, and it's clear that they both care about each other, so it hits hard.
Right.
When Mufasa's taking out the story, but it's a necessary thing.
It is kind of necessary. I know people go back and forth on it, but I think it's necessary.
All right, Nathan.
Yeah.
What's your number 5?
Okay, so my first 3 are in the same. It's based on the same individual, but it's 3 different events. My first one is when Master Chief loses his not quite yet a girlfriend Cortana to the Gravemind. Oh, that's sad. At the end of Halo 2.
You're right.
Because okay, so that set up all of the problems that we're actually seeing with Halo today, by the way.
Right.
But well, 343 took it and ran and did something stupid with it, but that's a different episode.
We just come up with video ideas on the fly in the middle of other videos.
Dude, I literally hate 343.
I know.
Can't. Anyway, so Cortana getting crazy with the Gravemind, losing her mind between Halo 2 and Halo 3. It's so sad. Because Master Chief has to go find her and then get her back, but rampancy is already starting to settle in, but he doesn't know it yet until Halo 4, and then yeah, I'm gonna go into that later, but it's so crazy.
Excuse me. Even as a person on the fringe of the Halo sphere, that's still something I know about because it's just so important to the Halo story.
That is so mega ultra to the Halo story. It's incomparable to anything else that happened in the whole series.
Right.
I'm just saying.
All right. So
What's your number 2?
My number 2 or my number 4, however you want to view this.
Right.
My number 4.
I guess your number 4 technically.
Lord of the Rings. It's Frodo's failure at the end of the quest.
Oh.
And for movie for book lovers who are or for book purists, go watch the movies and look at who's the actor for Sam?
I don't remember.
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember.
But for the movie specifically, all the emotions I felt about Frodo failing, you can see in Sam's face. The actor's face.
Yeah.
Just it's.
Yeah.
And it's amazing once you get into the wider lore of the thing and how Tolkien explained it after he wrote it. He's just Frodo's at the end of himself basically.
Yeah, he's done.
He
toast.
can't go any farther. he got it to the goal, and it's just
He can't do it.
he
get
can't do
across
it.
the line.
He's giving it out.
Yep.
It's just through an act of
You know,
combination luck and divine intervention, where Gollum comes in. What?
Samwise Gamgee is like, I want him as my president. You know,
Different video.
like Samwise is awesome, man.
He's amazing. But it's a different video for us to explain why Samwise is actually the hero of the Lord of the Rings. Anyway.
He is the hero of the Lord of the Rings. He's the only reason why I went.
Anyway, what's your next one, Nathan?
My next one is tied into what I just got done with Cortana Gravemind.
Right.
And it's Cortana Death.
Right.
Her death in Halo 4. Now, okay, a lot of people don't like Halo 4, but you got to remember Halo 4 was actually storyboarded by Bungie. And so 343 basically just copy-pasted what Bungie had at that point, because the game was not mostly done, but a big chunk of it was done.
Right.
Everything that happened past that was 343's fault. Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, that's all 343. But Cortana's death in Halo 4, oh my goodness, that was sad. That was one of the saddest things I ever seen. Because she literally used everything that she had left to save Master Chief.
Right.
And then she dies, completely dead, at least we thought. But then we figure out, some fragments of her survived and put themselves back together in Halo 5.
All right.
And she still had her memories, and she was a totally different person.
Right.
Completely different.
Right.
And it was one of... Okay, so, sorry. We're back.
We're back. Sorry.
Had a microphone break.
Anyway.
So, yeah, she turns around on Master Chief, walks away from him.
Right.
And it's just super sad because she goes off and tries to, cure all of the other AIs from rampancy.
Right.
And, which rampancy, if you don't know, is when AIs start to break down and freak out and they can't control themselves, which I'm wondering if that's going to happen to our GPT stuff and all of that.
Maybe. We'll see.
Just, with languages like that, and then language model changing, will that have an issue? I don't know. But anyway, that's a separate podcast. Right. So it's just that sacrifice and then betrayal because she's not the same person that she used to be. And it's sad. Okay, that's what I've got for that.
All right. Moving on to my number 3. And this is where me and Nathan get kind of similar. Mm-hmm. This is more of a, it's not AI directly, but it's it's more of a fantasy AI.
Oh, yeah.
So, and at my number 3 slot, I'm going to Zelda. And I'm going to Fi's Farewell at the end of Skyward Sword.
Oh, I actually don't know that one.
Yeah.
I haven't played Skyward Sword.
At the end of Skyward Sword, the companion character, who's basically as close to AI as something fantasy-driven as Zelda can be.
Right.
Or more, closer to Lord of the Rings than Star Wars,
Right.
But she's basically an AI. And at the beginning, she's all numbers and complete the mission, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's the classic story of basically an AI learning to be human.
Okay.
And by the time she's learned some semblance of humanity, and then at the end, she goes into the Master Sword, and she says, "Thank you, Link, for showing me what humans are all about. I'm going to go to sleep for eternity." And then she shows up.
Sad.
And then she shows up in Breath of the Wild, then she shows up in Breath of the Wild, a tiny bit. That's a different video. All right. Next one.
All right, my number 3. No matter which way you count it.
You're right.
My number 3 is when Cortana in Halo Infinite dies. So basically what happens is...
Excuse me.
Cortana tries to go 343 tried to right the wrongs. Let me reset. 343 tries to right the wrongs between Halo 4 and Halo 5
Right.
by tying up the loose ends of Halo 5.
Right.
They basically are resetting that storyline. They're killing it. They're capping it.
Right.
But you can only kill it if you kill Cortana.
Right.
So what? What's his face now? He's not Mark O'Donnell, but the other one. The other one that was just as big. I can't remember his name. One of the other writers, I think it was like Jason something. But he, one of the other writers, original guys for Halo, came back to the project to get Halo Infinite out the door, and he cut a bunch of story and changed a bunch of stuff and a bunch of the gameplay. And pretty much what ended up happening was he killed off Cortana. Cortana tries to do like this AI rapid-C fixation thing. She tries to fix all of them. But then the other AIs are realizing maybe an AI takeover at the same time isn't necessarily required. We can figure out rampancy differently while still having our human counterparts, because we were originally designed not to kill human life but to save it.
Right.
And so they kind of abandon her a little bit. And then she meets like the head banished guy.
Right.
Which, fantastic setup, by the way. They tied in Halo Wars. They tied in all of the original Halo series. They tied in and cut off Halo 5. Like they fixed it. Like Halo Infinite fixed a lot of problems, guys. And so Infinite comes out, and she meets the leader of the Banished, and the Banished leader just kicks the crap out of her. And they're going back and forth. And I don't remember quite how the back and forth ended up ending, but it was another sacrificial type thing where she did everything that she could to stop the leader of the Banished from being able to decimate the planet.
Right.
Because he was about to do the same thing that she was doing.
Right.
So, and that's really when Cortana went, oh crap, this ain't it. So, after all of that, Master Chief is going through one of the rings, and Cortana's whispers, what's left of her code, basically, like, she's back to fragments, but this time the fragments are so far gone that it won't ever be recompiled or re-executed ever again.
Right.
And so the little blips that he gets going past him are literally like computer memories, just like there and then gone, right?
Right.
And so the last scene, Cortana walks right up to him, and this is dead Cortana. This is Echo Cortana. Walks right up to him and says, "Hey." Basically says, "Hey, I see you got a new AI model. I figured they'd give you another Cortana model of me, but that's okay. You guys are gonna do what you always do." And then she's gone, and Master Chief is just standing there like, And then the place starts falling apart, and he has to run outside.
Right.
And the whole story arc of Cortana is so sad.
Right.
It's so sad. But that being said, it made the series really good. Like, Halo Infinite's actually a really fun game. I love playing the game.
Right.
I wish more people would.
All right.
All right. That's all I got.
Man, we do play a lot of video games, don't we?
Yeah.
We're massive nerds. So,
Yep.
I'm going to a series I introduced to you somewhat
a while
recently.
back.
Semi-recently. I've been playing it for as long as you've probably been playing Halo, but roughly.
Yeah, it's probably about right. Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm going with Sora's Sacrifice in Kingdom Hearts 1 for my number 2 slot.
What?
Let me explain. So,
I'm kidding. Go for it.
you're an idiot.
Sorry.
But, so, Sora sacrifices himself at least twice in the series. Once in 1 and once in 3.
Uh-huh.
In 3, it's kind of ruined because in an interview before 3 came out, the Tetsuya Nomura, the director of the series, came out and said Sora's going to continue being the main character. So, Sora's sacrificing himself at the end of the game for Kairi.
That's what I was kind of, yeah. Okay, I got you.
Doesn't have the same effect as Sora literally committing seppuku with himself with the Keyblade to free Kairi's heart in 1. Because you see that in 1 and you're just like, oh crap.
Like, what just happened?
What just happened? What the heck? And you don't know how the game's continue. Are you going to switch to Donald? Is Kairi going to be the new main character? Are we going to find a way to save Riku from his past mistakes?
Well, you have to play 3 to figure that out.
You have to play the rest of the series to figure that out. But
yeah.
Anyway, so in 1, you're just like, oh crap, what the heck?
Right.
And then the rest of the series comes out.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. You got more, or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. So this is not a video game related thing at all. This is totally like gear shift, totally different. The burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Right.
Yeah.
It is really sad.
And
it's sad in whatever media it's put in.
All of the media that was there, all of the articles, all of the, it was literally a museum that
had
all
books.
of the smart people lived at, that had all of the books, all of the art, all of the science, all of the technology. I mean, literally, they were on the way to making, microprocessors and that kind of thing. Like, they were close. Right. People don't realize how close they were. Imagine having, a computer by, 200 AD.
Right.
That was the track we were on, guys. When did the library actually burn? I remember looking it up once.
I want to see.
Library of Alexandria burning. Wasn't it 90 or something like that?
I want to say it was around there.
Oh, no, it was 48. Oh, wow,
40.
really? Oh, yeah, it was 48 BC. But, okay, yeah, no, that's about right then. Yeah. Right. They were getting there. And, they've done, archaeological digs and have found, ancient batteries. Big, giant capacitor-type batteries.
Right.
And, they found evidence of, they were used on people for, medical stuff. But, according to modern science, quote-unquote, they should have never had that technology.
Right.
But they did. So, it kind of makes me think, how new is the technology that we have?
Right.
Or has a variation of the technology that we have been available to humanity for far longer than we wanted to admit? Honestly, it wasn't until after the invention of the printing press that we even were able to keep track, an accurate record of, inventions and stuff. Right. So, I'm just saying, the burning of the Library of Alexandria was huge. But that was also, the first college.
Right.
And,
it was a vast, like you said, it's a vast museum of basically the entire world's collective knowledge.
It was the internet before the internet.
Stored here.
It was the internet before the internet. That's the best way.
Internet before the internet.
Best way I can explain it.
And it probably wasn't as fast to travel to Alexandria. Not Alexandria.
That's
a different thing. That's a different thing. That's a critical role thing. You don't know what that is.
Okay.
To travel to Alexandria. I can't English.
Alexandria.
It's named after Alexander the Great. I don't know what.
Alexander the kind of great.
Alexander the guy who did things.
He was semi-decently-ish. Okay, not really actually.
Alexander the
I got killed because I drew a line in the sand. Technically speaking.
Yeah. Alexander the I did things.
How did he actually die?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It don't matter. But it's probably the internet. It was the internet before the internet. But
that's what they had.
Oh, I'm about to sneeze.
Do it. Get it. Sneeze. 3, 2, 7.
It left. It left when you said
I
7.
hate it. I hate it when that happens.
Anyway,
That was horrible, though. The burning.
yeah, it was the burning. It was the world's collective knowledge up until that point.
That set us back centuries. Centuries.
Millennia, probably.
Maybe it might have been a full 1,000.
It might have.
Yeah.
It might have been a couple thousand years. Because if we had, think about it. If we had the internet centuries or millennia before we did.
Mm-hmm. Right. I know. I mean,
all right.
Granted, we're seeing the effect of computers and the internet and everything now. So maybe it's a good thing it burned. I don't know.
But this is God's will, and He probably burned it down for a reason we don't know yet.
Well, I think we're seeing a taste of why.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
See those Chat GPT girlfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that ain't it.
All right.
Actually, I shouldn't say that on the podcast. Never mind.
All right.
A friend of mine was affected by it. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Before we continue, or before I do my number one thing, I'm gonna pull a switcheroo here.
Do it.
I'm gonna let you reveal your last one before I reveal my last one, because I kind of want to end on that one.
I hate you. All right,
I
Iron Man.
What about it?
All of it. Iron Man is so sad. I talked to all of my friends about this. Okay, so Tony Stark and Iron Man, same person, same individual.
Right.
You got Iron Man 1 where he's like, "Oh yeah, I am the best. I am. I will blow things up." And then he realizes after a couple battles that he's got to step it up a notch. And then you've got the first Avengers where he's like, "Oh my gosh, space is like coming to us."
Right.
Like he's literally crapping himself, realizing we're playing a bigger ball game here.
Right.
And so he has to send whatever it is back to space. He has to send the freaking the aliens coming down, the big giant worm things that are eating New York, back up to space. And then all of a sudden a nuke gets launched and he's got to turn around, throw the nuke like a football to the mothership to like kill everything. And he didn't even realize that was like the little of the ships. Like that was just a little tiny blip of what they could do. But then you get you get everything that happens after that. You have
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron
is more as a direct result of the first Avengers.
Yes.
I would say.
Yes, because you got Tony Stark with he's wrestling with his own narcissism.
Right.
But he's also wrestling with, holy crap, like, I've got to protect everybody. There's nobody else in the room who's as smart as I am and as capable as I am, because I'm the guy who actually blew up an entire alien spaceship. Now, to be fair, that's probably accurate, because Thor wasn't really Thor yet. Thor was just a hammer slinger.
Right.
And he was dealing with daddy issues, and he was dealing with his brother. Like, he had family stuff going on.
Here's the thing about Thor. I think Thor was holding back because of Loki.
I think he was holding back, but I also think he didn't know how to actually let go.
Right.
It wasn't until he got the Odin Force, and then him and Loki kind of patched things up.
Right.
But to be fair to Tony, yeah, he's a narcissist. But he was also right. Like, he was right on the money.
Right.
Every check, every step of the way, he was right. He predicted it. He called it. He was correct.
Right.
So I'm willing to forgive. I gotta watch how I word that. I'm willing to overlook a little bit of ego if you're actually correct.
Right.
Because then it shows you're passionate. And there's a very fine line between passion and narcissism.
Right.
There we go. Ooh, I pulled that one out of my brain.
There we go.
But okay, so you have everything that happens there. He let his ego and narcissism get to him, absolutely.
Right.
And then you have Civil War.
Which I almost had a scene from Civil War in the top 5. It was like number 6 or something.
Dude. I will never be Team Cap. I will never be Team Cap on that.
Here's the thing.
Ever. Ever.
You are Team Cap, Nathan. and I'm gonna explain this. You're Team Cap until he lies. As far as
Okay, yeah. Okay,
okay,
that's
as
fair.
far as
That's fair.
as far as the Team Cap, Team Iron Man,
Yeah.
that's more in regards to the Sokovia Accords, which okay,
I could go both ways on the Sokovia.
I could go either way as well.
Yeah.
That's
I go either way with that one.
I go either way. I see the value in it, but I also see I see the value of having oversight, but I also see the value of
Even Tony admitted that it was like towards the middle to the end of the movie. I forget what scene it was, but he even admitted that it was a temporary type thing. It would never work long term.
it would never work.
Like he knew that.
Especially with a person like Tony, who
Yeah.
would be looking. Okay, Tony, his character would at that point in the franchise would be looking for a way to undermine and to keep doing what he's doing,
Right.
free of the government, somehow, some way.
Yeah. Now, okay, so
So that let's put the Team Cap, Team Iron Man thing to rest, because that's a different issue. This is like this was like number 6 or 7 for me.
Right.
That entire sequence
Right.
where
Oh, that sequence was so sad.
where Tony's watching the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Tony and Steve are watching the tape.
Yeah.
And it's
the Winter Soldier that kills him.
It's the Winter Soldier that kills him.
Like, how do you not tell him?
It's Steve sacrificing one friendship for another.
He shouldn't have done. If all he had to do, because Tony knew that the Winter Soldier had the mind control stuff going on. He knew that, and Tony knows about how that goes because Age of Ultron already happened.
Right.
I think, right? Age of Ultron was after,
Age of Ultron, yeah.
or was before.
Age of Ultron, yeah, was before.
Was before Civil War.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
like,
it was because they were still.
Oh yeah, because Spider-Man came back. Spider-Man came in.
Yeah, Spider-Man came in.
Yeah.
And they were still a team in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And Civil War.
Spider-Man wasn't in Age of Ultron yet, so yeah, Civil War would have had to have been after. There's so many movies I get mixed up, but
it's
the Cap should have just told the truth. Yes, Tony Stark was right to start beating the crap out of Captain America. I'll die on that hill. Cap had it coming, but what is really
and on the other side of it. Yeah, on the other side of it, just to give you some time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I know you're
I'm percolating it.
You're percolating. On the other side of it, yes, Steve had a right to defend Bucky.
He had a right to defend him, but he should have just told the truth.
But he went about it the wrong way.
He should have just told the truth. If he told the truth, Tony would have been like,
there were numerous chances in that movie alone. Alone, and I say in that movie alone.
They even had an opportunity before they even walked into the building.
Right.
Like, it was right there.
Steve could have just pulled Tony aside and just said, hey,
you need to know something.
You need to know something. Bucky killed your parents. He was
under the mind control.
He was under mind control. That's something, like, if that happened between the two of us, like if a friend of mine killed your parents, and I knew about it, I've been like, hey Nathan, come here. Here's what happened. He was under mind control.
Now, granted, I don't know how I would react.
Right.
But Tony's smart enough that I think he would have been fine with it. But
right.
You know, you pair the 1-2 punch of one of your best friends and confidants that you really trusted,
right,
and it's really started building trust with after the first Avengers movie,
right,
lies to your face by omission, and then you find out, oh, this dude actually killed my parents, both of them?
Right.
Bro. So now you push forward, you push past that.
Right.
You get into what happened in Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
And again, Tony was right. Like,
Tony was right.
Tony went and just kicked the crap out of Thanos. Almost killed him.
Right.
He got close. Almost gets him. But then, in the beginning of Endgame, what does he say when they all finally get back together, all the Avengers? He says, hey, you said that if we lose, we'd do that together too. And guess what? We lost, and you weren't there.
Right.
Granted, they were fighting two different fronts, but they weren't tight-knit. They weren't together.
Right.
And so it's like, dude, Cap, your perfect smile, your blonde hair, blue-green eyes,
it's not going to work.
You're not a perfect man. And I think that's what everyone, not everyone, I think that's what, like, Stan Lee was trying to portray, is that he's not perfect. He's not God.
He's not the soldier.
Well, everything, I'm going to say it,
What?
everything that's special about him came out of a bottle. Nobody would have known Steve Rogers if it wasn't for Howard Stark.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, not Howard Stark. Wrong scientist.
Howard Stark made the serum.
No, it was Anthony Erskine, the German guy.
Anthony Erskine helped get it in him.
No, he was the one who made the serum, and Howard Stark was the guy who built the machine.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Howard,
okay, I'm sorry. It's a long series, man. I don't.
Shush.
Howard Stark built the machine. The other guy built the serum. The truth of the matter is they were both like super geniuses, and they both did it. Okay.
And also, no. Not everything special about Captain America came out of a bottle. There was a reason Erskine chose him for the serum. He was a good man. I'm not saying he was a perfect man, but he was a good man.
He was a good man, which is a good thing. But if Erskine and Stark weren't there, and he didn't ever get the serum, he would have been another death statistic.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. And so
he would have faded into obscurity. Yes.
He would have faded into obscurity, and Haley Atwell would have lost her boyfriend for real.
Yeah, but on the other side, of the argument, Cap was also right that really the suit is also what makes Tony special.
Well, yeah, but he admitted it. Tony was like, "Yeah, I'm a genius billionaire, playboy, philanthropist."
Yeah. but if he didn't have the suit, he would have just, well, okay.
But that call out spiraled something different too, though, didn't it?
Right.
Because in Endgame, after they have their big confrontation, Tony Stark gets married, has a kid, buys a house, and moves forward with his life, right?
Right.
But then all of a sudden the Avengers come back into the circle and they say, "Hey, we figured out how to go back and fix it."
Or we want to go back and fix it.
And Tony says,
they know they need Tony.
But Tony says no.
No. And that's why the scene with Pepper is important.
Yes.
Because she knows what's really going on in Tony's head.
Mm-hmm. And that's why.
I think suffice it to say that during that 5-year gap where we don't really see much of what they're doing,
mm-hmm.
Tony and Steve somewhat make peace.
No, they do. When they go back to the past to pick up a couple of the stones,
right?
They have a handshake. They say, "All right, I trust each other."
Right.
And they're like, "All right." That's when they make up. It's right there. And so then after they make up, they actually really do really well.
Right.
Like they start planning crap. They start doing stuff. Like they just start going. But now here's the funny part, and this is why I still don't like Cap. So Cap in the first Avengers calls out Tony and says, "Are you gonna lay your life down on the wire, or when it gets down to the wire?" And then Tony says, "I would just cut the wire." But yet, at the end of Endgame, who makes the sacrifice even though he has a wife and kid? Tony does it. Not Cap. It's Tony.
Right.
Tony goes, grabs a stone, snaps his fingers, and dies.
Well,
and kills all of the bad guys. But he dies. Who goes back to the past and cheats and gets married to his girlfriend?
Okay.
All I'm saying is that Captain America, by every definition, is the one who cut the wire.
Okay.
But, you know, it's even funnier. At the end of the movie, he admits it because he said, "Oh yeah, I thought I'd go try some of that life that Tony thought I should go get."
Right. And that's okay. Now, here's the thing.
That's a character arc.
That is a character arc. And Tony making the sacrifice.
He's coming back.
To-
RDJ came out last week and said he wanted to come back in the MCU.
That's going to shape on the sacrifice, dude.
I don't care.
Anyway.
And neither do you.
I don't care. So.
It's still sad, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's Tony and Cap are moving almost in like opposite directions.
Right. They're like, they're never on the same.
They're never
on the same.
They intersect at each other. They intersect at different parts of each other's character.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's why like the first like 10-ish years of Marvel worked so well.
Right.
It's because they were building these characters of.
Yeah, the first 13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, they were taking Tony from someone who wouldn't make the sacrifice, who would just cut the wire.
Yeah, I know.
To someone who would make the sacrifice, and they were taking Cap in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the first Captain America? The reason Erskine chooses him, he jumps on a grenade, not knowing it's fake. Okay.
Right. That's
2,
fair. That's fair.
He takes the plane into the water,
I know.
not knowing the serum would preserve his life. The serum combined with the ice would preserve his life. Well beyond its.
He
well
became
beyond.
a capsicle.
Yeah. Well beyond.
I love capsicle. That's such a good line.
It is such a good line. So Cap did make the sacrifice because he made the sacrifice not knowing that it was just a test.
Right.
Or not knowing that the serum would preserve his life beyond what it should have.
Right.
What
Right.
it should have been.
Right.
And then they take him to the opposite direction of someone who was just like, okay, I've made all the sacrifices up until this point.
Right.
I've done what I think is right. I'm gonna choose something for me.
Right.
I'm gonna go back in time. I'm gonna go be with Peggy.
Which, by the way, is how Shield got started. Was Peggy Carter.
And
then choosing Nick Fury.
right, how do you think it felt to be Captain America, knowing about things like 9/11, knowing that Shield, knowing that Shield was basically infested with
Hydra,
and not doing anything, and telling Peggy, go ahead, start it. Bad things are gonna happen, but it needs to happen.
That's crazy. I thought a little bit of that in the past, but like you brought up like real life events.
I'm just saying.
That's a whole nother level. That's borderline
saying,
treason, but at the same time, you can't do anything about it.
Right.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's so he knows about things like 9/11. He knows about, Korea and Vietnam. He knows.
And the outcomes of them.
He knows the outcomes. He knows about the Cold War. He knows all
and he
these
knows
things.
about all the space wars going on too.
You're right.
With the Kree and with the Skrulls and.
Steve knows so much more in the past, but he can't say a dang thing about it.
Unless it's to Peggy. And Nick. Peggy and Nick are the only two who know anything.
And that's probably why Nick is so much in the know. Movies like The Avengers and like Secret Invasion.
Also, Nick Fury that we've seen for the past few years is a Skrull. So
right. He would also know about Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, man.
Right.
I didn't like the first movie. I'll be honest, the first movie was trash. When I saw the Marvels, though,
it wasn't.
I feel like it was meant to fix her story arc,
right,
while also kind of trying to shoehorn the other two characters in.
Right.
I think that's why people had so many issues with it.
Right.
I'm just putting that out there. Okay, we need to get to yours because we're already 50 minutes or 45 minutes in.
All right, and this might be a little bit of a longer episode, y'all.
Buckle up.
We should have put that at the beginning. Anyway, and this one The others, well, I went like 5 to 2. Um, are you could substitute any one of those in any other spots, and it would just work just fine.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
get that.
Because
All right, this is your maximum. Let's do
this
it.
is the top, and it's. You mentioned earlier that this is kind of a gear shift of, it's not like a movie, it's not like a video game, it's not a book, it's real life,
Okay.
and it's Judas Iscariot's betrayal.
Oh yeah, we talked about this earlier today.
We talked about this earlier today. It's his betrayal of Jesus. This one, no doubt, unquestioningly, takes my top spot
Yeah.
in this list. And
Ooh, that's a good one.
it's an unfortunate, it's a sad series of events. Because we get from one gospel where Judas decides to betray Jesus.
Right.
And I would argue that's where the actual betrayal takes place, is the decision to betray him.
Yeah. It depends. See, the
Right.
problem is we don't know the mindset.
Right. Or he starts looking to betray Jesus.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't know the mindset. If I think certainly beyond the realm of return
Right.
was when he threw the money and said,
We're getting to
I've
that. We are getting to
betrayed innocent blood.
We
I think
are-
that's the maximum.
that. We are getting to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But it's a sad series of events where he goes to the chief priest and says, hey, I will look for a way to deliver him to you. I think
Right.
that's where the initial betrayal takes place. And then he starts looking for ways to get Jesus
Right.
into the Pharisees' hands.
Yeah.
And then that goes on for a little bit, and then you get to Jesus saying, surely, surely tonight one of you will betray me.
And he tells them who it is.
He tells them.
Yeah,
he
that's
tells the
crazy that he did that. Yeah.
It's crazy how many times Jesus tells the disciples to their faces
Yep.
that things are going to happen, and they don't get it at all. They're all blind
I
idiots.
feel like they were just like, why is he looking at Judas? I feel like that's what the response was.
And Judas must have been freaking out
Well,
to actually know that Jesus knows. Think about
well,
it.
either freaking out or I don't know that he was freaking out
Right.
because it's never recorded, so we don't actually know. But I don't know that he was freaking out because Satan was already there. Like Satan was already
Right.
present. It wasn't like it was any surprise. And like all of the devils knew who Jesus was.
Right.
Like we talked about the demoniac at church today.
Right.
Pastor David did. And like the demon said, yeah, we know who you are, Jesus Christ, the Son of God.
And Jesus is like, shut up, leave.
Pretty much, yeah. And David brought up a really interesting point that I think kind of relates to this.
Right.
He said that the reason why that God tells him to be quiet is because the demon Legion was acting like an apostolic or a false apostolic source.
I don't think that was Legion in that passage.
Yeah, that's Legion.
No, it's not Legion.
Wasn't it Legion?
No, that
Oh, I'm thinking ahead.
you're thinking ahead.
Um,
But that is a demon. It's amazing.
Not Legion. What was the one that he was talking about this morning? I'm mixing up stories.
It's in Luke chapter.
Luke
4.
4:31.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
demon
that
possessed
demon.
dude.
Most
Yeah.
of the demons don't have names. I think Legion is the only one that gets a name,
I think that's a number
and it says we are
based off of
and it's not really a
Roman-
name.
yeah.
It's not really a name. It's more of a title. It says
Like we're like 5,000
it
demons.
says we are Legion. We are Legion because we are many.
like we super infested a dude.
Right.
But yeah, so sorry, when he casts out the demon, I'm sorry,
Right.
I mixed up stories there.
Right.
When he casts out the demon, the reason why he cast him out is because the demon was trying to act in a falsely apostolic authority, trying to proclaim Jesus, and so which I didn't put that two and two together until he said it. I always wondered about that too. Luke 4:31, read it, guys. But anyways, so
Just read the entire Gospel of Luke. You'll be good.
It's really good.
It's really good. I like Luke.
It's all really good.
The entire Bible's good. Just read the entire thing.
But so when I think there was a demon in Judas. I think that had to be.
Well, there is a point where the scriptures say, and Satan entered into him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Satan enters in, but he never
And
makes a big deal out of it.
right.
And I think he knew that.
And Jesus says, "What you do so quickly."
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And so that's why I say, like, I don't know if there was a point where the demon ever left him. Probably after, like, right after the kiss, or right after the betrayal. Because what does Judas do after?
Well, he probably goes and witnesses the trial, or the trials, sees Jesus getting falsely accused, realizes, oh crap, Jesus is innocent, and then he eventually decides to hang himself. And this is just, like I said, it's a sad sequence of events.
It's just straight depression.
It's a sad sequence of events of Judas not believing in the first place.
Right.
Because I think a clear argument can be made that demons cannot possess
Christians.
Christians,
I don't
like
think it's
true
possible.
believers.
No, it can't be.
Because we already have the
We
Spirit.
already have the Holy Spirit.
We have the
We're
Spirit
being
indwelt
protected.
in us. We are protected. That doesn't mean they can't attack us. But I'm just saying they can't possess us.
Hey, just look at the Book of Job.
Right. So it's him not believing in the first place. Him going looking for an opportunity to do this. To Jesus telling him, I know.
Right.
Go do what you need to do.
Yep.
To him betraying Jesus openly. To him witnessing these trials and realizing what he's done.
Yeah.
And then throwing the money down and saying, I have betrayed innocent blood.
Betrayed innocent.
I have betrayed innocent blood. And that, y'all, is important.
Yeah.
That is important. Because he says, I have betrayed innocent blood.
He doesn't say.
If Judas believed at that point, he would say, I have betrayed the Lord my God.
If he had said, I betrayed the Lord my God, honestly, I think there would have been some realm of forgiveness open to there.
Right. Now,
personally, don't hold me to that, but I think
if I can delve into the mind of Judas for a bit during, really between the kiss and the throwing of the money down.
Right.
Because I believe, here's what I think happens.
Okay.
If he's not already decided on suicide, on hanging himself, when he throws the money down,
right,
he decides shortly after, like extremely shortly after.
Right.
And I'll get to a question. I'll get to a thing about that in a bit, but
okay,
or in a minute. Here in a minute.
Okay.
But I think between the kiss and the throwing of the money down, and like the decision to hang himself, that is the last chance Judas has.
Yeah. I think where he threw it all away is when he said, I have betrayed innocent blood, because he never admitted that Jesus was God.
But
I think that's when, like, his mind was so set he was never gonna change.
Right.
Like, he was probably thinking, my buddies, the chief priests, have abandoned me because they said, oh, see to that yourself, when he threw the money at him. So he's like, the chief priests has abandoned me. There's no way that my former best friends, now probably enemies, are going to take me back.
Right.
Like, I started this whole thing. And so he had more fear of man than he did of God, but he didn't even know God.
Right.
And that's the saddest thing, Zach. He was right there with Jesus.
That's exactly that's the saddest thing.
Yeah.
And if I could just park on that, what you just talked about for a minute. And I think Judas's thought process, if we ever get to know it, but I think his thought process of reasoning out to committing suicide would have been fascinating. And this is Counselor Zach coming out to study.
Do it.
Because he's going through the gymnastics.
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
Probably
he is.
Probably sometime during the trial, he's just like, Jesus is innocent. I can't come out and speak him now because
Right.
then I'll look even worse.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go home because I can't go anywhere because I'll still live with this guilt.
Right.
I can't go back to Peter, to the other disciples, because again, based on what he perceives Peter as, he's like, I can't go back. Peter himself will rip me apart.
Right.
Because he just witnessed Peter chopping a guy's ear off.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter.
So he just witnessed Peter
He's
chopping
like,
a guy's ear off.
I'm going to get lightsabered by Peter.
And Judas is probably thinking, if Peter gets his hands on me, he'll rip me limb from limb.
Right.
And I don't know that the others would stop it.
Right. They might have been like, huh, what's happening?
And like he's probably thinking worst case scenario. He's like, if I go back to the other disciples, Peter will rip himself. The others will probably join in.
That's a good what if question.
Right.
Would they take him back?
Only if Jesus had said.
Okay, that's fair.
Only if Jesus
That's
had said.
fair. Yep, I'll take that answer.
He probably would have been in hiding for the 3 days. Until
the dude
separate from the disciples, he probably would have been in hiding for 3 days.
Right.
And then, of course, he goes to the chief priest and says, "I betrayed innocent blood. What do you want me to do about it?" And they're like, "We don't care about you. Go."
Right.
And that's when he's like, "Okay, I have nowhere else to go."
Yeah.
And
boy, it's sad.
It's a sad sequence of events.
It's sad.
Of a man, like, okay, obviously, God is everywhere. Jesus is everywhere. He's omnipresent.
Right.
So, Jesus is with us. But it's I feel like it's a different sort of context to say Jesus is right here with me, with you and me, Nathan. Or then to have been a disciple.
Oh yeah, no, I
basically
see. Yeah. Well,
witnessing Jesus' ministry.
It's 100% different because they were witnessing the miracles of Jesus in person, in the body, in the flesh.
Right.
We know what happened based off of what the prophets and what has been recorded has said.
We are reading their accounts of the
what chapter is it?
By the way,
Lazarus goes to heaven, and then the rich guy goes to hell.
Oh, is that?
We just read it the other day.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Is it?
It's Matthew something, I want to say. I just talked about it the other day, literally last week. I can't remember the past.
We can't remember. We'll figure it out.
Let me find it.
While Nathan's figuring out.
This is going to drive me nuts.
But it's a different context because they are physically witnessing the ministry of Jesus. He's there with Jesus. And
Luke 16.
Luke 16.
Luke 16.
And Nathan, what makes this even worse, what makes this even sadder, is Jesus came to Judas, knowing he would betray him, knowing full well, and I'll admit, when Jesus got we've said it, we've mentioned the hypostatic union. Shut up. Clip that.
No, I don't.
Clip that.
No, I want to keep that one in. That was funny. If you couldn't hear it, Alexa just said it's time for bed because it's 9:00 at night.
Right.
Alexa, nobody cares about you. This just turned off.
Anyway, but what makes it even worse is Jesus came to Judas Iscariot, knowing he would betray him, and said, "You now have a portion of my power and my authority to go cast out demons and heal diseases. Go do it." And Judas did it.
Jesus, yeah? That's crazy.
It makes it worse. It makes it worse. He had the power of God.
Well, he had the authority.
He had the authority of God.
That's almost funny.
It's crazy. It's
That's
funny.
sad. It's funny, sad.
It's funny, sad because, again,
Oh man.
using Nathan as a proxy, saying Nathan is like dangerously sick, and Judas comes in. By the power of Jesus Christ, you are healed. Or by the name of Jesus Christ, you are healed. And they will be healed.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. He was so deceived.
Right.
I mean, in his mind, everything's a magic trick.
Right. Everything's a magic trick.
Like,
Everything.
he was so concerned about the chief priest and what they would act and think that he didn't stop to think, oh, maybe this guy who's claiming to be God isn't faking this, or if he believed that the miracles were real, he didn't stop to think about the extent that the miracles could go to. Or he just never accepted. It may have been that he was just lukewarm the entire time and he was just kind of trying to see. And to be fair, most of the disciples were that way. They were just lukewarm forever until the resurrection. And then the demon finally just said, hey, I'm going to go take over Judas because he's been pilfering out of the money box. He's a greedy person anyway. Let's just go get him.
And,
you know?
excuse me.
I'm going to transition to outro.
And maybe he believed Jesus was so much. He was just sitting there waiting for Jesus to be the conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I said it this way several times. The chief priests were looking for Jesus' second coming at his first.
Right.
Which means they were looking for his coming in Revelation, told in Revelation.
Right.
The first coming, and he's like, "No, I've come to do this."
Guys.
Anyway.
Yep. All right. I think we beat it to death. My brain's about done.
Right.
Subscribes.
Subscribe.
Patreons.
Like.
Hit the bell. Oh, my Mac is getting angry. It's encoding everything right now.
Right. We hope you guys like this style of episode. I don't know how frequently we'll do it, but
we'll see.
It'll pop up every once in a while.
That was fun, though. I will say that.
It is fun.
I like that.
And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, Nathan, but top 10's will be reserved for Nerd Herd videos.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
This is like top 5s from each of us.
From each of us to make a top 10.
To make a top 10-ish.
That was good. Good job, bro.
Good job, bro. All right.
All right. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting there. Come on. I believe in you. Do the thing. Boom. Boom. And now. Outro.
Watch part number 4.
Yeah! I got it! Okay,
Anyway.
bye.
See you guys later.
I love you.